Welcome to another episode of A Mile in My Shoes. Just to give everybody a little update, this is a space that was created for people to come and give their real life, authentic stories of overcoming triumphs, things that they face, things that they still facing. And I truly believe when individuals are allowed to tell their story, it brings about a great deal of healing. Uh, and sometimes it's not always getting out of it, but just being able to tell your story does major things. Let me plug this up real quick, get our mic going.
Hold on, let me turn my TV off because I can't hear. Hold on.
Look, take your time, take your time, take your time. Get ready, y'all. That's the only thing I say. Get ready. When I first heard this story, I didn't know what to think. Basically, if I could say what I got from the story, these are the things that you hear and see in the movies, and you'll never believe that this stuff actually is going on in our communities, in our cities, and in America. So, without further ado, welcome Mrs. Tiffany Daniel. What's going on tonight, Miss Tiffany?
Hi.
I gotta
Nothing.
take it. Let me take a deep breath before we even get into this, and give them the
I know.
backdrop. When I first had this idea, I go on TikTok and I'm trying to fool around with the buttons, see how to bring on guests. And you were in the comments, and I was like, "Can you please try to request so I can try to pull you on?" And she like, "Sure." So she comes on the live on TikTok, and I'm like, "Yes, we in business, man." And she's like, I said something about the story, and she was like, "Oh, I got a story to tell." And you started to talk, and my mind was blown. So, Miss Tiff, are we starting in Indiana? We starting in Indiana right now? Where we starting at?
I'm in Indiana.
Take them there. Take them to the beginning of the story where you started me off at.
Um, Living here is not no fun, and I don't recommend it to nobody. Like honestly, um, until they clean it up and clean it out, and get rid of the problem. Um, they're clear from Central Indiana. Um, I know. Uh, we moved to these apartments called. I think they're called Mayhew or something like that. But it's off Stop 11 in Madison in Indianapolis. And I went to get this living room suit. And this is how it got started big time. Um, I met this guy named Doug Carver. Um, yeah, it's a whole different story. I went to go with him to pick up a living room suit. So I had been friends with this female on Facebook for some time, and she had been a local babysitter. So I asked her if she could come and help me out, do me a favor, and watch my kids for me so I could go pick up this living room suit. And something told me when we was about to finish up getting the living room suit, um, to hit record on this app. So see, prior I put an app on my husband's phone, and it's not legal if the phone is not in your name. You can actually get in a lot of trouble for it, but the phone was in my name. And it's an app called Find My Kids. It does live recordings. It does 30-minute session or like 30-second sessions. So you can record like 30 seconds and listen. And it has an emergency location address. And so something told me in my heart, like, hit that listen button. So I did. And I could hear this female doing things with my husband because he had gotten home early. So yeah, I told my kids, I was like, hey, go knock on the wall so the dog will bark. so it'll scare him, you know what I mean? And it worked. I heard everything on this app. And so I get back to the house. I didn't open the door. I kicked the door in and I told her, get her crap, let's go. So I'm trying to be the good person, you know, Glinda, the good witch, and not do anything to risk getting my kids called into DCS. So I take her home, but I write this note and I ball it up and drop it in front of her door. And it was for her boyfriend. So I told him, you know, hey, check your girl's panties. So he did. And next thing you know, it's like a couple months later, I'm getting a call from the Steve Wilkos show. Like she literally called the Steve Wilkos show on me,
Wow.
which it was a blessing in disguise because I don't know if you ever got into detail about who Steve Wilkos was and what he used to do. He used to be former military. He used to be a cop, and he actually did like security on the Jerry Springer show as well before he went and got his own show.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. It was probably like a few months went by after my husband abandoned me and my kids, and trying to figure out what to do. I got 5 boys, and I don't really want to lose none of them. So we're sleeping in the cars, trying to make ends meet. And that's when I met Doug Carver and this guy named Roger Hubbard. Roger offered to let me come and stay with him. And I was like, okay, good. This will let me get time to get a job. And while the kids go to school, and I can be able to save money and wait for this emergency housing to come through.
Yeah.
Well, the emergency housing never came through. I kind of thought there was something strange about this person that came to his door, but you know, he's got strange people anyways in his life. So it didn't click at that time. So as things progressed, we had a birthday party one night, and I asked him and my friend that was there, her name was Stacy. I asked if they wanted to go out to the bar, you know, once the kids go to bed. I got 2 over here at another friend's there. They can sleep there. And we all agreed. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go run to the trailer where I'm staying at now and ask my friend if he can watch my kids for me, the 2 babies that were there asleep. Well, I'm taking a shower. I get 3 missed calls from IMPD, and I get a text message from my son. I'm not too worried about the text message from my son at this moment because I'm thinking in my head, okay, well, if I got a text message from my son, this doesn't have anything to do with my son. So I'm going to call the IMPD. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call IMPD first. And so I call them, and hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I got puppies. I don't want to put a hole in my bed. So I call the IMPD, and the dispatch answers the phone, and she's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have any information that a Tiffany Daniel was ever called or whatnot. And I'm like, okay, so nobody gave a return information for anything as to why I had back-to-back calls from IMPD. And she's like, no, honey, and we're not a recording service here. So I just hung up on her, and I'm like, well, I'm going to check my son's message. So I clicked on my son's message, and when I did, my heart kind of fell out the rear side, if you don't mind me saying. I'm not from the city, so I don't really know too much about the place, but the text message my son had sent said that I'm at Riley's hospital downtown. And I'm like, okay, I know Riley's hospital downtown is a hospital. My son don't know this, so my son's not texting this. So I'm blowing up my son's cell phone. I'm blowing up Roger's cell phone. Neither one of them were answering. Finally, a female answers my son's phone, and she answered it. Hi, this is nurse such and such from Riley Children's Hospital downtown. Is this the mother of Jaden Garcia? And I'm like, yeah, it is. What's wrong? You know, why do you get my son's phone? Is my son okay? And her response to me was, we have your son in stable condition. How long would it take for you to get to the hospital? And I'm like, as long as it takes for you to give me the address. You know, I'm not from here. So she gives me the address, and I hang up on her. As soon as I get to the hospital, I'm met by DCS. And they're like, we need to talk to you. And I'm like, well, I need to see my son first. Okay. You know, they're telling me that they just got him in stable condition. So there's something seriously wrong with my child. And she's like, well, before we let you into the room, you will come and speak with us. So I follow them into this room, and no sooner than we sit down, I think like maybe 3 minutes went by. There's a bang on the door, and it was IMPD. The DCS workers were sitting there telling the cops that they need to come back. Right now, they're dealing with the situation, and the cop had to tell them, look, I don't think you know what my position is, but you're DCS, I'm a cop. Stand off to the side. I need to talk to this mother. So they walk in to the room, and the cop greets me, tells me his name, and he's like, so you know Roger Hubbard? And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, not to a full on, I could tell you everything about his whole entire life history, but you know, I've hung out with him and his wife off and on for the last 4 years till she passed away. And he's like, okay. So he turns a picture around and he says, is this Roger Hubbard? He said, now the information I'm about to tell you, it took us about an hour to get this information, which should have been immediate information. It should have been a red flag. And when he turned that picture around, I was like, yeah, that's Roger Hubbard. He was like, are you aware that Roger Hubbard is a sexually violent predator? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I mean, my whole face went as white as a sheet. And he looked at DCS. He was like, that's what I figured. She honestly didn't know. That's how big this family is here in Indy, that they cover these crimes. And
now I know where you're going with this. Let me just inform the audience the things that you're about to hear. There's two parts of the world. You got this half of the world that's aware of how deep the rabbit hole goes, and you have this half of the world that are
that has no
clueless.
clue.
So if you're a part of that group that doesn't know how deep it goes, and you don't want to come out of that ignorance is bliss, I just want to give a warning to the things that you're about to learn on how deep this stuff goes. Go ahead, Miss Tiff.
And I need you one there. I can't give you it. You gotta go find another one in that green drawer downstairs. Go. Please. Shut the door so the doggies don't get out. So once he told me that, I looked at the cop and I'm like, may I please take me to go see my son? You know, because at that moment I just felt like I was struck by a train. And the cop told DCS that they're gonna have to wait, and he took me to go see my son. As soon as they opened the door and I saw my son sitting there in the bed, he had this big, huge knot sticking off the side of his head. And they had him casted from his right hip to his toes. Just the look on his face when the door opened, you could just see that his soul was pretty much gone. Like he just went empty and started crying. And I started crying, and the DCS woman, she looks over at my son and tells him to shut up and quit crying. The only reason you're effing crying is because your mother's here. And I'm like, yeah, duh, because now he feels safe. There's somebody here that he knows. And she was being extremely rude the whole time, telling me that we needed to end the little chit chat, is what she called it, between me and my 11-year-old son. He was 11 at the time that this happened.
This is the nurse at the hospital.
The DCS worker. Like the nurses really aren't even saying anything at this point. And I had to look at the nurse and I'm like, look, if you don't get her out of here, there's some crap's getting ready to happen. You know, she's disrespecting my son, and this, I'm not trying to hear it right now. So he escorted the DCS worker out of the room, and she kept popping her head through the door talking about, we have to go, we have to go, we need to go check your other kids. And I'm like, how do you know about my other kids? You know, like, seriously, how do you know about my other kids? It was the setup from the whole beginning of it. And while I'm trying to talk to the doctors and the nurses, they're telling me that he was involved in a motorcycle wreck. It was supposed to be a hit and run. And they were making it to where I could not talk to my son. That way my son could not give me any answers, or he couldn't tell me anything. They were hoping that he would just let everything just fall from his memory and just forget about it, because he did suffer major head trauma. Mm-hmm. So they explained to me that his knee was broken below the right knee. Yeah, his biggest dream in life was to be a basketball player. And I did everything I could every school year to make sure that he was on the basketball team, made sure I paid all his fees. That way he could participate. He loved it. And something to me just didn't sit right, because I've seen motorcycle injuries before. And when I'm looking at him, I don't see motorcycle injuries. I see assault. And I'm like, okay, so where's Roger? And they're like, well, right now he's at Eskenazi Hospital. He's under control of the police right now. And I'm like, okay. So they keep me in the loop on this. As I leave, I go to see and take her to show her my other kids, and to where the trailer was we were staying. And she was like, okay, well, you got food and water and electric. They got a safe place to stay, you know, whatever. So don't worry about us taking your kids. We just wanted to make sure. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going back to the hospital now. So it was like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning when I finally made it back to the hospital. When I get to the hospital, they're telling me he can leave, but as soon as the STD tests come back. And I'm like,
for a car accident? I mean, for
exactly. And the doctor, when she said this to me, wasn't directly, because she was like, oh, we're waiting for the blood work to come back. And I'm like, what blood work? She was like, I'm not allowed to disclose. Sorry. I'm not allowed to disclose any of this information to you, because you are not, because they said I was no longer in custody of the child. DCS had already stepped in and put an emergency removal on my son.
Hey, it's going to make sense, y'all. Just listen.
And I'm like, okay, but I don't understand. So as she walked away, she said, she kind of said over her shoulders, and it was an older Black lady. She was like, we're waiting for his STD test. And she kept walking because she knew she was not supposed to tell me this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hold on. I knew I was right. Mother's instinct right off the bat, something was wrong. So I went to see my son, and the nurses wouldn't stay out of the room. They told me not to talk to any of the stuff unless there was a cop around or DCS was around. I'm a mom. Don't tell me what I can and cannot ask my kid. So every time they would leave, I'd be like, look, Jaden, you know, we don't have time. And I know this is putting too much on you and making you say too much at once. But tell mommy what happened, because I swear to God on my life, whoever done this, whatever happened, I swear to God, they'll all effing pay for it. And my son whispered to me, he started crying. He said, Mom, it wasn't an accident. He was like, Roger hit the truck, but I wasn't on it. And I'm like, okay, I knew this, you know, and I'm like, are you afraid that something's going to happen to you? And he was like, yeah, he told me if I said anything, he was going to kill you. And I'm like, okay, I could care less about me at this point. So they come in, told me I had to leave. They needed to do some more tests with him. And I'm like, you know, I really need to be there, but I got to get back to my other kids at the same time. So I'm trying to be in 2 places at once, because the whole weird thing was My husband up and abandoned me and my kids in the middle of the night. Never came back. So that's how I got into this whole situation, trying to find somewhere to stay. Um, and the sad thing was, he was literally across the tracks, like, I don't know, less than 2 city blocks away, and left me and his kids to struggle. I just had a newborn baby. Um, prior to that, they tried to have me arrested. He sent me out to get Taco Bell one night. And I'm like, okay, sounds good with me. I like Taco Bell. Let me hurry up before they close. Well, I get out the door, and this female 2 doors down, she comes running out the door, which was strange because we already had one little, like, meeting, I guess you would say, that struck me strange too, because I'm standing there bent into my truck and you can't see me. You act like I wasn't there, and started talking to my husband. I'm like, all right, now I got to follow this. So she comes running out, and she was like, hey, how long does it take for the cops to get here? And I'm like, well, here in this city, it depends on the crime and who you are. I was like, why? What happened? And she kept emphasizing. She was like, well, my boyfriend, he attacked me. He's 6'2" and he's black. And the way she would say it, she was emphasizing his color, which the whole thing of how she got into that apartment in the first place was weird, because there was a family of Hispanics. Mm-hmm. And then she moves in with her 2 children, which are black. And then this family's being moved out, like, quickly. You don't see them there anymore.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. And what did he do? She was like, well, I just had surgery on my stomach. And I'm like, oh, you're that girl. Because see that Find My Kids app. I hit record on it one other time, and I could hear my husband having sex with somebody. And she goes, Isidro, take it easy. I got staples in my stomach. So when she said that I had surgery on my stomach and I got staples, I'm like, oh, okay, now I know who you are. She was like, yeah, my boyfriend just got out of jail. He beat me up. He attacked me. So I called the cops, and I'm waiting for them to get here. Something told me to take a step back and get back on my property line. Better yet, just start walking towards your car. Well, no sooner than that thought came in my head, cops come spinning around the corner, and they were like right out front before I ever got my butt into my car. And as soon as I go behind my Suburban to get into my car, you can hear her yelling, she attacked me. That girl right there getting in that car, she just attacked me. And I'm like, what the crap? So now I'm paying attention to this. I skirted out before the cops tried to run up on me, because now I'm all nervous. But see, in an incident after that, my husband was on his off day, and I have a newborn son. I have 6 boys. I don't have girls. So he come upstairs and was like, I can't get the baby to quit crying, and you need to get up and feed him. And I'm like, okay, but you don't have to come up here and start yelling at me like that. So he's holding the baby. He tosses my newborn into the bed. And, don't do that. For one, just don't do that. Second of all, when my son hit the bed, he hit my computer, and he hit a glass bottle of pure carrot orange juice, which now, if y'all notice, they made them plastic bottles now. Yeah, so mother instincts, I jumped up from the bed, pushed him back to the corner of the room by his neck, and told him, don't you ever effing touch my child like that again. Don't you ever hurt him. I was like, if you can't stand to be here, then just get the F out. Well, he tries to fight me. So I just put him in a chokehold and drag him downstairs, tell him, if you don't want to be here, just get out. Bye. He leaves and comes back 10 minutes later. There's cops surrounding the house. There was a false police report that went out that said I strangled him and his wife, and that I was the girlfriend, and that I didn't want to get up to care for our little girl. I don't have a girl. I'm not his girlfriend. I'm his wife. So what are you talking about? So that was like 2 days later, when he left in the middle of the night after being caught by my 8-year-old sleeping with that female 2 doors down, to where it ended me up at that man's house and all this going down with my son. So when I left the hospital, I told my son, since visiting hours are over, I'll be back in the morning to come and get you, like they said. So I leave. Now I'm going on 2 days of no sleep because I'm trying to find this white truck. Because my son was like, the trucks down at Daddy's or Papa's house, how they're all broken up in the front. He was like, what looked like that, and he hit it in front of the back tire on the driver's side, Mom. And I'm like, okay, all right. Now I know what truck I'm looking for. And he said, and on the front, it looks like it was the number 4. He was like, there's just one letter on there. He was like, it's an A or a 4. So I'm riding around and I'm riding around. I go to the spot to where they said that this incident happened, which was at the corner of New York and Gladstone. Mm-hmm. So I park my car, I turn my flashers on, and I'm in the ghetto. I don't care. Anybody got something to say to me? I'm on a warpath right now. Just don't mess with me. If you think I'm blocking the road, go around. You
don't mess with an angry mom.
No, you don't. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking for the marks of the motorcycle, because if you're going at 30 mile an hour, and it was a Honda 750. So if anybody knows what a Honda 750 Shadow is, then it's got a little bit of weight to it and it's hefty. So I'm sitting here,
He definitely would have left a mark.
Oh yeah, there would have been some good indentations in the ground. And I'm looking for the scuffs in the ground. I don't see anything. Not anything at all. I don't see anything where there's bike pieces, no light pieces. I don't see no paint marks on the ground. I don't see no scuff marks on the ground. But that's where they said that the motorcycle was picked up. So I'm like, okay, so if it happened here, and my son said that there was a white truck. So I started circling every street, every alley. I had people following me like, what's this girl doing? Is, she out cracking or something? So finally I come down Linwood and there's the truck. I get out. It's now like 3:00 in the morning. I'm sitting here walking with my cell phone. I'm taking every imaging aspect of this truck. And you can see right in front of the back driver's side tire where the motorcycle had hit the side of that truck. You could even see the blood on the truck from where Roger himself had hit the truck. This is how insane this man is. After they beat and raped my son, they fractured his skull and broke his leg right below the knee. They staged the motorcycle wreck right at the corner of New York and Gladstone because he is a frequent flyer, and so is his family, to that bar. So when detectives go there and ask for security footage, they say, oh, that camera right there doesn't see nothing.
Y'all did hear her correctly. They staged the accident. I want to make sure they catch what's about to take place.
Yeah. So it's not sitting well with me. And like I said, I go and I find the truck. I'm taking pictures of it. I'm doing my own investigating. At this point, yeah, I did a little bit of criminal activity myself. I don't care. I paid someone to kick his door in, get my son's stuff out of his house. I already had the keys to his car. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't driving it nowhere. I wasn't taking off with it. You want your car. Here it is. But I will tell you this. I took the tire off and I put a chain and bolted it to the freaking the axle on the back end. So if you try to put the tire on, you still ain't going nowhere. Because we're going to face to face on this one. Something needs to be situated. Well, I'm glad I did, because his sister-in-law stole everything from inside of the house, and then they blamed it on me. I was like, no. Mm-mm. I told him, I don't care. He's ex-military. I don't care. I don't care if you're the devil. You mess with my kids. I done put my stripes on. It's wartime,
She said, I put my stripes on. Look, I think every mama out there can agree. You play with one of them cubs, you coming for it.
Yeah. Period. So, with that being said, I meet with him. We go to his sister-in-law's house, and it's still eating me inside because people are like, well, what the hell are you still doing talking to this man? Why didn't you just walk up and blow his brains out? God. Like I said to you the last time when he was like, well, how do you get? I was like, this is where people say you're crazy.
Yeah.
No, God has been my biggest rock because my whole family has abandoned me. My sisters, I mean, I got 3 moms and 3 dads. Come on, and I don't know none of my family, period. No cousins, nieces, uncles, nothing. So I'm like, all right, one step at a time because, this is a shitty hand that I got dealt. And, like Texas Hold'em poker, you make one bad move, you're out. And there's no replay. So I'm like, okay, let me do this. So I'm like, all right, I go with him, separate vehicles. I call the police. He doesn't even know police are on their way. We go to his sister-in-law's house. And I'm like, now go get your stuff because ain't nobody blaming this crap on me. Well, she admits to it, to the cops and everything. Yeah, I took everything from his house and I put it in my garage. And I'm like, well, check. That's one thing off right there because y'all done called the police and told them I did it. Now there's a warrant out for me. We ain't doing this. And this whole time, I mean, there's like so much funny things going on. And I ended up getting a job because I'm like, with no money, I can't do nothing. I can't keep my car running. I can't pay for nothing. I can't pay for this storage unit. And I'm not selling myself anymore. I did that the first time just to make sure that my kids, because what are you going to do when your kids are sitting there looking at you talking about, Mom, I don't want to lose my bed and all my clothes and my toys. And you just got us our games, Mom, and our bikes. And it's like, I got a truck or a car in a Suburban.
Like that's what blows my mind, man. It's like we see people in certain situations, and you never know the story behind it, man.
Mm-hmm.
You got 5 little ones that's looking at you like, Mom, what you gonna do?
Yeah. And 2 dogs and 2 cats. I can't, they're like my kids too, can't get rid of them. But that's even weird on its own. Somehow the day I was leaving, my cats come up missing. But see, 2 years later, I see them with this other chick and this other dude, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've had them for such a long time." I'm like, "No, you haven't, because that's Simba and Nala. I know who those cats are. Those are my cats. How'd you get them?" But after that day with going to his sister-in-law's and letting him know where his stuff was, because and this is the weird thing, they charge him with being in possession of a firearm, being a convicted violent felon in possession of a firearm, being in contact with a minor child under the age of 18 with an ACE of 0.15 or more, endangering a child under the age of 18. But nothing was ever said being a predator in the custody of a child. Because see, I had this app on my phone. It was supposed to alert me of all registered sex offenders in the area.
Yeah.
Never registered on him. And I'm like, something's just not right. So I'm still doing my work in between. I'm trying to now work at Papa John's and trying to pay for storage and trying to live in my car with 2 dogs and, trying to take care and bathe and everything. That's the hardest thing to do, especially when you find out now you're blacklisted. So when I got that job just in the nick of time because everything started going downhill after that. And I'm still trying to keep in communication with him and make him think nobody said anything to me about it. Nobody told me anything about you being a registered predator. So I'm still trying to play both sides of the fence. And that's where it becomes the hardest thing, because every time I see him, and I don't want to incriminate myself, so we'll let y'all fill in the blanks on this because this is still an open investigation. And I'm like, I can't believe every time I look at him, I want to throw up, and it's like, but I got to convince him and manipulate him to keep giving me this information because I got away. And with some people, they're just like, dude, we would just handle it a different way. Well, I'm glad I didn't, because what I handled differently than most people actually pulled the top off of something else that nobody else would have ever imagined was going on under their own feet. So, yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And hold on. So eventually and it seemed like a setup to me too, the way it all just kind of happened. Stop. And this guy, this chick, Tamara, I met her at a bar one time. And, she was the only one that I knew to talk to. Hush.
The doggy say, Mama, let me at him.
Yeah, I know, right? Hold on, let me. Okay. So she was the only person that I knew that if I had a chance of trying to find anywhere to stay, it could possibly be her, because I didn't know nobody here. My husband kept me secluded. I wasn't allowed to work. I wasn't allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to go nowhere. I wasn't allowed to have money. And they want you to eat and stay hefty because they get a good looking girl and they convert her looks.
Mm.
Because they know once they get to that spot of where they need them, what they're going to look like when they start losing that weight again. So they're going to be able to put them out there because they know what they got in their hands at this point.
Yeah.
And go in there for a minute. Mommy's using the phone. Bubby, I need you to go in there. Pet the dog and go in there. And so trying to weigh all this out, and this lady telling me that I could stay with her and my two dogs, me and my two dogs could stay with her. So I went on ahead, brought one of my bags in, brought the dogs in their cage in, and I go to work, tell her, I get off at this time. So just be by your phone. So when I call, you can let me in and I'll take care of what I need with the dogs or whatever. And I get off work and I get to her house. It's about 3 a.m. Nobody's answering the phone. Nobody's answering the door. Can't get in. I'm banging on the downstairs window, banging on the back door. I think I called her 100 times to where 2 hours go by and I'm like, screw it. I got to go to sleep. I got to get up and go to work again after I go see my kids with ECS at 7 a.m. in the morning. Mm-hmm. So I parked my car at the Kroger parking lot right off of Prospect, I think it is, or Southeastern or something like that. But they had this big empty parking lot and I just pulled up in there. I figured it was out in the open. So if anything happened, somebody was going to see it. Mm-hmm. And I get up, I go to work. I get off work early that day. I go to her house. Still nobody's answering. But this guy pulls up. And he was like, you looking for Tamara? And I'm like, yeah, she's got my dogs in there. Hopefully she's got my dogs. Okay, but go in there, please, so mommy can talk to this gentleman. And so we have a little conversation in his front yard. And he's like, yeah, you can't really trust her too much. She's not good on her word. She's into drugs and all that. And I'm like, well, I kind of figured that part. But I mean, I ain't got no other places to go or nobody else to talk to be able to help me just so I can save some money and get somewhere. Yeah. And he's like, well, if you want to find her, he was like, I'll hold on to your dogs. And he was like, I'll be here for the rest of the day. He was like, but there's this house that she goes to. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, go there and ask for Mitch. It's her brother. And I'm like, okay, I think I know what house you're talking about. I was like, it's on the corner, right? And he was like, yeah, that's her brother. So I go there and this guy comes out and he's like, oh yeah, she's in here with doing blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I didn't know all that was a setup too. Mm-hmm. And it's funny how things work out and you just don't see it coming because some people got so good at their place in life that to you, it seems like every day. It seemed like a coincidence that you met this female at the bar. It seemed like a coincidence that she's now here and your dogs are over here. So I'm like, well, can I talk to her? Because she had my dogs locked in the basement for a day and a half and didn't take them out, didn't feed them, didn't do nothing. So, he was like, yeah, come on in. And I go in there and I don't want to feel disrespectful, but yet then at the same point now, I don't care how disrespectful I see women because, yeah, when I walked into this house, I've never been into a house like this before. I've been into some dope boys' houses. I've been into some crackhead houses. I mean, that's just a part of life if you walk in that lifestyle of any fashion of it. You know what I mean? And hold on, please go out there. Go down there and watch cartoons for a minute, okay? Because you're getting ready to go to bed. So you better go watch TV while you got a chance. And so when I walk into this house, okay, I've only seen transgenders on TV. I've only heard about them on TV. But that's where I met this lady. They called her Coco. Her and Tamara were in the front room, which this house was a complete disaster. Like, there's no refrigerator, no counters, no kitchen sink, no kitchen tables. It does not look like a house. On the outside, you could not tell what's going on inside the devil's den. Like, blankly.
Devil's den.
Huh?
I said the devil's den.
That's what God told me it was. I don't know if you heard that poem that I wrote, but it was called Black Widow Brought to Her Knees. Yeah. I put it on my TikTok site. And the part goes, shit. If you could give me a split second and kind of speak on this for a minute, I can grab that book out of my closet and read it to you.
Y'all, I'm on the edge of my seat because, like I said, I want to hear the rest of this story. Again, a lot of times, y'all, we complain about situations that we in our daily life, and we don't have a clue the things that people are facing on a daily. Like I said, she hasn't even gotten to details of how the system is set up and arranged. Like I said, when I heard it from her the first time, it blew my mind. And I know a lot of information, but to hear it from somebody who actually was involved in the depths of it, it blew my mind. Definitely blew my mind. And I'm definitely blown away to see you still here, Miss Tiff.
Oh, me too. Trust and believe. Honestly, I didn't think I'd make it out alive. It's where it got. But that's, I don't know, getting into that house, it just, I mean, it opened up a whole new world to me. It gave me a look into a different side of life that when people sit back and they judge people for being strung out on drugs and being homeless, some of y'all have no clue really how certain people got in those situations in the first place. Because mine was a setup from the beginning. And I hope they did not steal my book, because that's still another thing that happened in my life. Here. It goes to that gang stalking thing where they want to make sure that nobody believes your story, that whatever you say, when they hear it, they'll be like, nah, I remember her. She was strung out on dope so bad that, yeah, she's probably making this stuff up. But
now, Ms. Tiff, explain to the people that don't know, what is gang stalking?
Gang stalking can be used by the government and it can be used by your local gang members. The best ones that like doing it, and I hate saying it that way, but that's the irony of it, is psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a form of breakdown of your subject, making sure that whatever occurs, nobody is going to believe them. If they go to the police, they're going to think you're just a mental patient and you need to go get on some meds, get a mental evaluation, or get off the drugs. Like, they'll break into your home and they'll do this so smoothly that nobody thinks that the person walking into your house is actually burglarizing your house or coming there to destroy your house or to steal evidence or to plant, incriminating evidence on you. Or, like I explained to you, you go to the mall, you bought a brand new Nike jacket, you wore it home, you put it up in the closet, and you're like, all right, 2 days later, I'm gonna wear that jacket I just bought because now I bought me some new shoes. So you go to put your jacket on, when you go to zip it up, there's teeth missing. You're not gonna buy that nice expensive jacket. You're gonna try it on. You're gonna zip it up. You're gonna make sure it works. So if it sat in my closet for 2 days and ain't nobody been in here, how is their teeth gone?
Mm-hmm.
They'll come in and they'll pry little teeth off your jackets. They'll take that little plastic, all minuscule things to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
Because nobody in the normal world is going to think that that's something people do. Like,
right.
A grand example, being at that guy's house, no running water, no toilets, nothing, no tubs, nothing. And I stayed there for 5 years. Had to. There was something that told me, you can't leave till your job is done. You just suck it up, buttercup. Cops and militaries, they don't like doing their jobs. They don't like doing undercover stings. They don't like going and being undercover agents and having to play the role. But so I had this it's a camper washer. It's like this little blue barrel, and it's got these 2 little metal legs that fold out, and you sit the barrel on it and you just crank it. So like when you're out at camping or whatever, you can hand wash your little clothes and hang them up to dry or whatever.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it worked perfectly. I mean, I've used it so many times. So how is it now that I'm going to use it one day and I'm cranking it, but the thing's going, like flopping sideways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting here like, I know I got it put up together because all you got to do is just fold the leg out, right? So I fold the legs out. Now I'm all, Bob the Builder on it, like, tapping on the side because I'm like, I know there's nothing wrong with this thing. So I get to looking at it on one of the bottom pieces. They took and they filed it down. That way it would rot. It wouldn't work right. So it was just, It would frustrate you. It's things like that. Or they'll get in your car while you're sleeping. And if it's your boyfriend, then it makes it so much easier because you trust your boyfriend. You're going to trust him with your life. You're going to go to sleep next to him and knowing that you're going to wake up the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised I woke up any day. But I woke up one morning, get ready to go to work. Well, afternoon to get ready to go to work. And I go out to my car and I'm like, who hit my car? There's no way somebody backed into the driveway. So who was driving my car while I was asleep? And they're like, Tiffany, remember when you left work, you went to the bar, so you probably wrecked your car when you come home. I said, honey, I can underdrink a Mexican. So don't tell me I wrecked my car. I think I would remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, when you came home last night, your car was like that. And I'm like, look, I'm not stupid. Quit playing with my head. I know I didn't do it. But watch people's eyes. Because that's the one telltale sign. And I'm still not connecting the dots with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting him as the perpetrator yet. And it's like, because it went to, like I told you, they'll put you on this pedestal, be everything that a man wants you to be, And then as soon as they have you there, within 6 months to a year, boom, they kick that pedestal out from underneath of you. And then you're seeing a whole new world that you never imagined in your life you would ever see. At least that's how it went with me, because I'm just not that kind of person. You know, I've done drugs. I'm not going to say I'm innocent with that. Here, give me this. Take them out there. Your tab on the vessel. Go in there, Evan. Take
Question,
the
Miss
dog
Tiff.
downstairs.
I got a question. When did you start to know and connect the dots that everything was tied together, and that the families was a lot deeper than you thought?
Oh, I started paying attention to the way people would contact each other, to where they would speak with each other, you know, how they interacted with each other. Because if you tell me you don't know this person, then you're going to be odd around this person. You're not going to be so comfortable. Body language, thoroughly, was one of my biggest key factors. And then there was this female that came in one day. Xavier, shut the door, please and thank you. This female came in one day, and one of my rituals that before I go to work, because I've always wanted to be a singer and a model before before all this crap, marriage and all this stuff came into play. She come into the room while I was getting ready for work, and I'm like prepping myself in the mirror, you know, trying to convince myself it's going to be a brighter day, you know. Mm-hmm. And she started talking to me, so I went to go turn the radio down. She was like, no, leave the radio up. And I'm like, well, that's strange. So she was like, sit down real quick. I only have a couple seconds. So I sit down by her on the bed. She starts whispering in my ear. She's like, Tiffany, you need to Google gang stalking, because I've never heard of this word before.
A lot of people don't know what that is.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know.
Mm-mm. And I wouldn't blame nobody for not knowing, but if you don't know, get yourself wise to it, because
it's something that happens every day, all day.
And some people don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's how they build their little triangle and box you in. Yeah. And I guess with me, mine went so much faster because this guy was the leader of the pack. The guy that did this to my child was also a leader of a pack and another pack. Something else he concealed from me is he was, and his dad was, and his uncles were members of the KKK. So, yeah. My son was a victim of a hate crime and a child crime. And it's like, for the life of me in the city, don't call 911, because they're just going to be like, hello, I can't hear you, click. Like they've done that to me quite a few times. But when she told me in my ear, she was like, you need to look up and research gang stalking. She was like, because Tiffany, you are a victim of gang stalking and human trafficking. She was like, look, I got to get out of here, because if they see me talking to you for too long, they're going to wonder what I'm telling you. And I got so much writing on this. Well, in all gangs and in all problems, you got problems within your problems. Mm-hmm. Well, she's feuding with the people at that house. Now they're trying to take that house because there's something hidden in that house, and nobody quite understands what's hidden in that house. Mm-hmm. I still, to this day, I don't care what's hidden in that house, but it better not have nothing to do with me or my kids anymore at this point, because like I said, it's under investigation. I ain't going to incriminate myself. So read between the lines on that one. And now my whole day at work, I'm like, gang stalking. So I'm trying to GPS and drive and, Google gang stalking at the same time. And I'm like, wow, this just blew my mind.
When you broke it down to me, the only thing I could think of is you think that only happens in the movies.
You would think, that's what I thought.
You see it in the movies, you see it on TV. You never believe that is actually happening?
Honestly, I thought I was on like the Truman Show.
So
And in all technicality,
explain how the different entities were connected. As
like
far as whenever you had to go to prison, and then the lawyers, and then the judges, and then the
all set up, all set up to. Yeah, they're still slowly revealing things to me, and they're still trying to make me think I'm crazy, and I'm still in the woods with a lot of people. Um, Let me go to this. I found that what I was going to tell you. The Black Widow brought to her knees
mm-hmm.
with this one spot in here. Um, I woke up out of my sleep about the Devil's Den. I woke up out of my sleep one morning and I was frantically looking for a pen and a piece of paper. I'm like, I got to write this down. I got to write this down. I don't know why. I envisioned it in my dream, a whole full on poem or whatever. And if I didn't write it down, I was going to forget it. And I labeled it Black Widow brought to her knees. And it starts, as my eyes look towards the sky, as I scream and cry, I want to die. All these fucking lies and fake alibis. And pardon my language. I've turned my eyes to the sky. I've screamed and cried. Why, God, why? What the fuck for? Why my baby? Why my boy? You stole his peace and you took his joy. He wasn't your toy nor your boy. He's my son. What the fuck have y'all done? Now it's my turn to have the fun. I'm not going to run because your time here is fucking done. You thought that I was the perfect chosen one? Think again, motherfuckers, you're done. You've made me run and you've had your fun. I can't believe I've ever met such scum. You said, did, done, and promised to all ends that you'd protect me from this shit ever happening again. You are a deceiver and a wicked demon. Now I know why I seen this house as the devil's den. Do you think you'd win to do this shit again? All these fake bitches acting as a queen? I'll tell you this, there's never been one more truer than me. So say hi to the new queen bee. I am the mother of the 11-year-old boy whose name happens to be Jaden Lee. My son, my prince, that once bounced on my knees, now says to me, Mommy, please, please protect me. Mommy, mommy, please, please help me. As you hurt my baby and laughed at his pleas, fuck you, bitch, bow down on your knees and start begging me, please. That's when I started feeling a whole new everything. Things that, I mean, I've been beaten and molested and raped quite a bit throughout my life. But this was a true portal to hell. And how did I start noticing everything? When you start, and this is supposed to be the guy that came in, like how they reference Captain Save-A-Ho, ooh, there's this pretty girl, damsel in distress. We're gonna help her out, because maybe I get that, is what I'm thinking. But this is how sick they are. Pulled me in, made me think that I deserve better in life, made me think that they were going to help me with my kids, try to help me get all this shit settled with the DCS and to get my kids back and to seek justice for my son. And one day, and you know how they always say, keep your friends close, but keep your frenemies closer. Because if you keep your frenemies just as close as your friends, you can't never let them slip on you. Because they'll eventually reveal what they're going to do without ever knowing it, if you're in tune with yourself and your surroundings. And I'm watching their every moves. I'm watching who they interact with, and I call it ear hustling, like ear jacking or whatever. If you're in the next room, I'm like this, rubbernecking like a dog, trying to hear what's going on, because something's telling me that there's something not right with this place. And I'm in love with the guy that's there, not knowing that it's been a plot the whole time.
Right.
So I don't know. I chopped it up to, I thought he had too many drugs and stayed up for a couple days longer than necessary. Because this is when the stool started coming out from underneath of you, and the love bombing and the gaslighting started. And I'm sitting here like, I got myself locked in my Suburban, and I'm in the second row, like holding on to the driver in the passenger seat, like, oh my God, get away from me. What is wrong with you? He is banging on my windows, bashing my windows, telling me he's going to kill me, spitting on my windshield and bashing on my windshield. But it's the way he looks at you. It's like, he don't have a soul.
Yeah,
Like, I can put that on anything. You can look into his eyes. Like, you would literally and normally have a conversation with someone, and you would make that direct eye contact with them because you can feel what's coming from them. This is one of those, you will necessarily want to avert your eyes because you feel like they're like putting a bad spirit in you. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, this is a new one, but supposedly a brother was killed in that house. And when I say brother, I'm not talking about of another color. His brother, was supposedly murdered in that house, but they say suicide, but I say different. And that's just going to blow your mind on a whole new level at that point too. And that's why I say, if you ain't got God in your life, get God in your life, get on God's level, pray to him and ask him to come into your life. You won't regret it, because God literally saved my life at this point. So the guy that did the attacking and perpetrating to my son and what may you, I'm like, all right, something's been eating at my soul, telling me these two people know each other. Well, you know how they say when you get people drunk, sometimes they end up telling you more things than necessary, and they let things slip that they shouldn't, but then they don't remember telling you.
Right.
Well, he showed me this handshake, and that was the farthest thing from my thoughts at this moment, because I'm like, okay, well, he's a crazy MFer, so I want to see what's going to take place, because I'm about to make either the worst call of my life or a clarification call that's going to, kind of start to level things out and let me see a different picture here. Mm-hmm. So I call that guy Roger, and I'm like, look, I think he's going to kill me. I need you to come here. I need you to come here now. And then this is the weird part. You would think that, okay, he's in the KKK, his dad and his uncles, whatever. Well, he pulls up into the driveway with a black dude and a black chick. And I know both of them. I've met both of them. They know he's KKK. But that's like I told you on the last show. It doesn't matter. Times evolve. So everything else evolves. It's all intermingled, but
it goes
and deep. They know who he is. But they're like, you don't tread on us, we don't tread on you. But this is where it screws you up. They're blood family. So you see how big of a problem I'm stuck in.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not thinking, but something's telling me, just trust your gut, make this call. So I did. And when he pulls up, they shake hands. At that handshake that he showed me, and it's like, boom, light bulb goes off in my head.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like,
that's when the dominoes start to fall. Like,
yeah. When I'm steadily, when they say looking over your shoulder, people just think of that's just a saying, no. I'm literally trying to, split my eyes, trying to walk forward, but look backwards at the same time, because you never know when an attack's going to come at this point. You never know who it's coming from at this point. Because you know how like some movie theaters or doctors, hospitals, how they used to have that revolving door. That's how his front door is.
Yeah.
Like there is not an hour in the day, a minute in the day that there's not somebody there. And call the police as many times as you want. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. They're going to laugh it off because, heck, I watched them surround the whole place. with SWAT all vested out and had detectives and everything up there. They had guns in their hands, best where all of them approaching every corner of the house. And they're looking at him like, here's a picture. Do you know these two people? They've been breaking into all these storage units in this location, and somehow your name gets pulled up in it. And I'm like, let me see that picture. Okay, I know them too because they be running around here trying to sell all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, I'm not saying anything because I've already seen things. And I don't want to know no more things. And if the lights can go out in a house and put you in a fetal position, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
So I learned to kind of sit back, keep my mouth shut, watch everything. And I mean, you're talking all walks of life. You're talking 18-year-olds to 75-year-olds to, they don't care that they just lost their leg and the drug is going to make them lose their life because they can't rehabilitate their leg as long as they're still doing the drugs. They don't care. And this plays in with that crocodile that I don't know how many people heard of it or if they kind of aired it like that, but how the Mexicans was bringing in a crystal meth that contained crocodile. Yeah, I got scars all over my body. It kills you from the inside out. It's almost taking like, you've heard of liquid fire, that Drano stuff, but it's called liquid fire. You pour it down into metal pipes and it's supposed to eat anything out and clear it out the way.
Yeah.
Sort of something like that. And if you're smoking it, you're ingesting it, it only has another way to come out because you're putting a poison in your body. And yeah, people are like, well, drugs, you're putting drugs in your body. That's a poison on its own. Yeah. Put my stilettos on and kind of walk with me in this and you'll see why. I did crack a long time ago. I was clean off of it for 15 years and I smoke weed, don't get me wrong, and I will argue with anybody to this day, but they actually figured out that in the Bible, they misinterpreted a word which actually stood for cannabis. And the Bible does speak about marijuana. But I'll smoke weed till the day I die because that's a natural medicine and the Indians sat around and peace piped it. So, but
look,
weed,
no judgment zone. No judgment zone.
No judgment zone. But weed isn't even strong enough to take the feelings away from you that you're feeling in this type of situation. Because when I say you get up and you go to work, you turn your light on, you pull your drawer out, you get your boxers or your underwear, you get your clothes from your closet. I'm used to doing that. I'm used to my kids live in the house, don't get me wrong, but I'm that mother that's running behind them because I've cracked an ankle or two on some Legos. So, but when I'm saying in this last 5 years, I sat in this house, no electric, no plumbing, no bathroom, no bathtub, no bathroom, period. Because everything's stolen, everything that they boosted, everything that they've robbed somebody for, it's in that attic, it's in that living room, it's in that bathroom, they don't care. And I'm sitting, this is 2 years into it, that the house went from kind of being livable to where I'm okay with, going to the gas station to use the bathroom because I got nowhere to go. But when they seen that I had no family, like literally I could call my mom and my mom be like, don't bother me with these problems. If you're going to tell me about this and you're going to tell me about a drug dealing person that I don't want to hear it because you're going to take my peace from me. And she'll hang up on me. She could give 2 craps less, which I know I'm not the only one that has that problem, but 3 moms, 3 dads, that's a lot of grandparents, I have nobody. If I'm sitting here dying right now, which I've been there and done that. I had a tubal pregnancy. I'm in the hospital. They need somebody to come and get my 3-year-old son. I called my mom. My mom's like, you're having a simple miscarriage. Go home. The doctor had to take my cell phone and went into another room and called my mom and was like, what kind of mother are you? She had a tubal rupture. if you don't get here and get her son, we're going to have to call DCS to take her child, or risk the fact your daughter's going to die. My mom barely got there before they done put me under and was rushing me into the emergency room and for the surgery. So that when I say I don't have nobody to call, I mean I don't have nobody to call. So I'm sitting here and I'm like trying to figure it out, planning A, planning B, but it's almost like they're in your head, because they are. They plant devices in your cars. They swap your phone out for a phone that has already been set up with its own little device in it. And all this, it makes a person sound like they're crazy. And even as I tell you this, I'm like, they probably think that, either I need to get on some better drugs and the ones that mess me up or whatnot, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here, I get up in the morning and I'm not running and finding another shower. I'm not finding somebody else's. So, all right, if I'm going to be the lady of the house, then yeah, I'm going to start being bitchy with it too, because I mean, what else can I do? They're not going to let me leave. And I've done found out the hard way that every time I try to go take care of my kids or go be with my kids, they attack my kids. So my showering routine was a little kid's bathtub with a bucket of water that came from the neighbor's spigot 2 doors down and a microwave, so I can stand there and wash myself every single day with a cup. I don't care at this point. I'm not running nowhere else. My life, I already feel like I've hit the bottom and like there's no way out of it. And to watch all these young girls coming through there, so pretty, and then you sit and you watch them decline, and you're sitting there, something's going on. And now you're telling your boyfriend this, but now your boyfriend is your attacker. What used to make him happy and, make your self-esteem happy, he's now using that as your ego buster. Like, remember how I said I love to sing and I wanted to be a model, but they've always shot me down my whole life. Take the dog out. I'm still on here. And I don't want you to hear these conversations. Please. Aiden.
I want to tell you, first of all, thank you for sharing this story. Like I said, whether you know it or not, you're definitely going to help a lot of people examine where they at in their life and how much they have to be grateful for, and they don't even see it.
Yeah.
A lot of people might not understand what's going on and what we're talking about, but just the simple fact, people are going to have to really take a hard look in the mirror and see how great their life really is and how much we don't even see it.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, if I was anybody else, I would be thankful that I didn't know this went on. But that's the problem, is with society keeping things like this hush hush. Nobody else knows how to look for the signs to be able to reach a hand out to help somebody. Because, and this is how you know, because I mean, this, God's got a hand on you once you figured out that your earliest assassination attempt on your life happened when you were 7 years old by your own family. I didn't even know, like, I have a scar that goes down like right here on my head. And I never knew about this until about a year ago, maybe a little over a year. But before that, I never knew I had a scar here. Mm-hmm. But the acknowledging of this scar came after a suicide attempt.
Mm.
And because once you every single day, like my son's perpetrator, and you can look this up on, you can look his name up on mycase.gov, Indiana, Roger Allen Hubbard, and you'll see a case for August 26, 2019. Then you'll see a case for November. I think it was November 22nd of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to get no new arrests or anything to violate the bond that they started called the Marion County Bail Project. So he's a violent felon. He's arrested. He's a child perp, not registered in the system or on the Indiana registry or the national registry, period. You bond him out. The actual state of Indiana, city of Marion County, placed a $1,500 bond to let him out 3 days after the incident. So then November 22nd, 2020, he, like I said, you got to keep your friends close and your frenemies closer to make sure you can judge their moves or whatever. But you know, with a psychopath, that's kind of hard to do. So I'm at the corner of New York and Sherman at a gas station that I frequent a lot because I do the deliveries for pizzas. So, you know, I got to have that in between gas station I can stop at. And so he follows me there after I get off work and tries to get into the car and talking to me. And I'm like, look, Roger, you need to just dissipate from my life at this moment. There's some things between you and this situation over here, and you already know what I'm talking about with my son. So, because I've done threw it in his face at this point, I done know a lot more than what you think I know. Oh, that's all a lie, Tiffany. I didn't do that. That was all they set me up for that. And I'm like, bullshit. My son wasn't involved in a motorcycle wreck or whatever. So I had a pit bull and a little chihuahua, my little companion pets, the two that I've been struggling to keep for years. And he reaches through the door and just bam, hits me in my jaw so hard that it sends me looking the other way. Cause I mean, he's ex-military and he's a dude at that. So my dog is not understanding what's going on because he's like, but I know this guy, he don't do that, you know? So my dog's confused. So I jump out because he's coming in. And as my dog is registering, oh, something's not right, she goes to turn to him, but he done slammed the door. And from where they done broke my door don't stay open. So my door slowly shut back as I tried to run back into the car. Well, my big dog then ran back and forth and hit the lock button. So she locked me out of my car and he's locked out of my car and coming right at me. I'm screaming and yelling, and this so ignorant because before this dude pulled up and started attacking me, this truck of 3 guys pulled up, pulling their smooth Rico Suave. Hey, baby, you know, hey, you got any pizza? Hey, you want to come and holler at us? I ain't got time for it. But yet, right decision to not even acknowledge them at that point, because what they proved to me, 3 worthless men was in that truck. 3 worthless men pulled off as they're watching this man attack and beat a female within an inch of her life. They just pull off. Now, I'm yelling, trying to get some help, but when he comes around that car, I just kiss my hands and throw it up to the heavens. And I said, Jaden, this one's for you. Because I knew I can run, but I'm not going to get too far. I've had too many kids. I've had a broken shoulder, broken ankle, broken rotator cuff. And everybody knows what comes with having kids. You ain't running fast no more, you know, especially when you had 6. So I was just like, whatever, you know, if he kills me, he kills me. And it'd be my time to go. So I stood there and took it like a woman, but I gave that man a run for his life. They have every bit of that on the recording at the gas station. And he left me laying on the ground in my own blood and urine. And this guy that lived in the apartment building from across the street, he was like, I thought I heard some screaming. He was like, so I got up off the couch and he was like, by the time I kind of seen where it was coming from. He's like, I threw my shoes on and grabbed a towel. He's like, I don't know. He's like, grabbed the wrap up his hand so he could start punching harder, I guess. He was like, but I come out here, he was like, the dude's already pulling off in his car. My whole face is covered in blood. I got blood dripping down my neck. And we call the cops. The cops get there and they're like, what do you want us to do about it? He's not here. I'm like, but I guarantee you I can get him here. And they're like, why don't you just forget about it? Go on home. You shouldn't have been here anyways. And I'm like, I'm working. I just got off of work, you know? And there's these homeless guys that are usually at this gas station. Once they started hearing the commotion, they started coming out from the building across the street because they realized who it was. I always frequent there, and I'm always giving the homeless people that I see. If I got an extra pizza in my car or whatever, hey, here, you want a couple slices? You know, because I know what it's like to be hungry, obviously. And these 3 black dudes were standing up there and they were listening to the cops. And the cops were saying, well, we can't open up your doors. Now, mind you, I can't move my arm. I got piss all over myself, blood all over myself. Can't move my mouth. Like, I can barely even talk to the cops. They're like, what do you want us to do? You want to go to the hospital? I mean, we'll have to tow your car and we'll have to put your dog in the impound. Or the dog in the pound. I'm like, I'm not letting y'all touch my car. I'm not letting y'all touch my dogs. Just leave me alone. And that's when the 3 black dudes walked over there and they're like, you know, why don't you get your little equipment out of your car that you pry the door open with and let her in her car? They're like, well, we don't have that equipment. We're the one of the few cops that doesn't have the breakout kit. And I'm like, whatever, bullshit. Every cop has a lockout kit. You got to sign a waiver stating that if anything happens, just being dicks. So one of the black dudes was like, well, I can run over here and I can get this coat hanger from my cousin's house. And the cops were like, yeah, well, what if she decides that she didn't let y'all in there? Now they're trying to play the race card.
Right.
He looked at, and he literally looked at them. He goes, she is a white girl. And I'm like, only if you knew. I see them out here every single night when I'm doing my runs. I throw them a few dollars every now and again, buy them a pack of cigarettes, give them a whole pizza. You really think they're going to believe your BS?
Right.
So they stood there the whole time while 2 of the dudes tried to open and unlock my door for me. And then the cop looked at me and was like, so do you approve of this entry?
Right.
I just told the cop to get the fuck away from me. And at this point, now my blood's boiling, and
this
I
whole
want to make
time,
these cops work.
This whole time, you still covered in blood and.
Hold on, let me shut this door. Hold on. I was trying to read you guys. Okay.
I thought I've been through some things. I ain't been through nothing.
What was the question you asked?
I said, during all this time, you still covered in blood and everything.
Yeah. The ambulance, when they come there, they took one picture of my face and told me to go home. That there's really nothing they could do. They don't have proof that it was this man or whatever. Now in all this, he took my dog, my little dog, my little Chihuahua. Now that's my son's service animal. So so I'm gonna do whatever I have to again at this point to get my dog back. Because that's the only thing left of my son that I have, and I haven't seen my son in over a year now.
Wow.
So I'm like, look, all right. This white dude walks up because the other black boys, they got scared. I don't blame them. I said, here, take this whole pizza, scat out of here before the fucking cops decide that they're going to be disrespectful about it because they already tried. I ain't trying to get no problems with y'all. Oh, stop it. You are bad. And gotta love your babies. So this white boy walks up.
Shout out to the furry babies, though.
Yeah, I know, right? Say hi. And I want to go play. So I knew this white dude. I've seen him a couple times, but he's also another homeless drug addict. But being where I've been at, I'm friendly to them all. I don't judge your book by your cover, because I'm going to tell you what, I've met more homeless drug addicts that were nicer than people that have nice homes and cars. Just they can't help the situation that they're in. And he comes up, and I'm too scared to get out of my car because I know the dude's lurking around because he just stole my dog. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here like, I'm thirsty. I got to wash this blood off my face. I got to get something to drink because my mouth's hurting. So I yell at him. I'm like, hey, look, I'll give you $5 if you go in there and pay for my gas and get me a pop, right? Well, as he comes out of the store, see, my thoughts were, call the dude back, you know, go through hell again if you have to, but you're getting your dog back come hell or high water. Mm-hmm. And so as the white boy come walking out of the gas station, the dude pulls back into the gas station and he's handing me my pop. Well, he throws his car up in park, gets out. And I'm saying, you're talking about one of them big wrenches that you use to work on like tractor trailers and trains, like them big extra heavy duty industrial wrenches and ratchets or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, this thing is as long as my arm. And he comes out with it down at his side, and he has my little chihuahua holding her by her neck. And I'm like, what is your problem? So I open the sunroof on my car, and I'm like, look, give me my dog. I told this white dude, I was like, look, take off. He took my dog and busted her onto my sunroof, trying to break her legs to put her in my sunroof. So as soon as he does that, he takes off. I throw my car into drive, and there's cops right there watching the whole thing go down. They didn't decide to do anything until I spun out of the parking lot, blocking the street and blocking the dude, because, I mean, come on, stop. Why are you trying to tear my book? He's hot. He don't know which way he's going. Ouch, little turd. And he's just not functioning enough to realize to run and run fast. Mm-hmm. I throw my car in drive, and I squill out, and I intercept. He's banging my car with it, and I'm telling the boy, get in my car, get in my car. Now police pull up, and I got the dude sitting there in my car, and here's what the cop said to me. Why didn't you just fucking go home? We wouldn't be dealing with this right now. I said, well, there's the perpetrator, the one that just attacked me. They was like, yeah, but you're making us do more than what's necessary. I'm like, no, I'm not. You're doing your job. Mm-hmm. They arrest him. Now, remember, he's out on a Marion County bail project bond that the city put up for him, being a sexually violent predator, a violent felon, possession of a firearm, ACE of a .15 or more, and being in the custody of a child. Mm-hmm. They dismissed his gun charge. Said that one, we'll let that one go, and let him out. 3 days later, he's free nilly-willian. There's a no contact order. He violated the no contact order. He attacked me. So now you got a new arrest. 1 hour later, they let him bond out on a Marion County bail project for $100. I'm like, okay, this is insane. I sat and I recorded it all. Well, now that they're watching me, knowing that she sees the bigger picture here, she's like a cop. Is she a cop? No, I'm not a cop, but I'll tell you what, it's made me want to be a cop.
You see how deep it goes with connections. If pretty much if you plug, you can get away with. Yeah.
And this has been my history for the last 5 years, to where if you've never had a gun put to the side of your head and they're like, I was paid to kill you, but I can't kill you. You need to get out of here. You need to get out of the city. You need to just leave here. If you got to leave your kids, leave anything, everything, leave your phone, leave your car, get the hell out of here, because they're going to find you either way if you take anything with you. And I'm like, I can't leave my kids, because every time I leave my kids, they attack my kids. My kids are in DCS's custody. they do visits with their dad. Well, somebody broke into my husband's apartment because they have a key, because
Yeah.
their family works as maintenance at all the apartments around here. They had some tea because I ordered some church's chicken and I had it delivered to them. Because I'm making sure my kids eat. Whether I eat or not, I'll eat out of the trash can. I don't give a damn anymore. And I sent them a gallon of tea, and I know it's got the little ring around to make sure that it's been sealed off.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, because I tried to leave, so it was like a couple days after I left, trying to leave my perpetrator, I get a text from my 13-year-old son. He's now 16, but he was 13 going on, or he'll be 16 in August. And he goes, "Mom, we're taking the baby to the hospital. He was fine. Now all of a sudden he's profusely throwing up." And he was like, he was fine until we gave him tea. Well, y'all were fine when y'all drank the tea the day before. And he goes, "Mom." So I went and I smelt the tea. He was like, somebody poured motor oil into the tea. He was like, it's all around the top of the jug. And I'm like, are you sure? He was like, "Mom, I've been around you plenty of times, because I quit looking for a man to do anything for me. When I met my husband 10 years ago, to hell with it. If you're not gonna fix it, then I gotta be Jane fix it all. Then so he's been there with me when I've changed the oil and I've changed the brakes. So he knows what oil smells like." And he
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, Mom, it's oil." And he drank a whole sippy cup of it and just won't stop throwing up. So I'm like, okay, well, rush him to the emergency room. I can't get there because they done stole my car.
Yeah.
I had a Chevy Impala and a Chevy Suburban when this all started. And haven't had the Chevy Impala. They tried to kill me in it. They started taking pieces off the side of the motor to where the belt would come off of the water pump. And the water pump started spraying out water everywhere in the motor. And I even took it to a Chevy dealer and explained to them what was going on. And there's no possible way. They got in there and they straight ran the hose to your pump. That way it would do this, because if you were traveling at about 55, 60 mile an hour on the highway, if your motor locks up on you,
Yeah.
you ain't got nothing. You got no brakes. You got no control, because you're going to lose all control of your vehicle. There's going to be no power steering, and nobody around you on the interstate is going to know it. So that belt slipped off and wrapped around the whole pulley system, locking up on me, thank God, on a side road. So that's why I was like, if you ain't got God in your life, get God in your life. Because if it wasn't for God walking beside me this whole time, that's just one of many setups, because that looks like she can't take care of her vehicle. So, due to her negligence to, fixing her own property, she caused her own death. Bull crap, you know?
This is what we gonna do, Tiff. And I'm gonna just go with what I feel at the moment. Like we talking about gang stalking and what these people do, but I truly believe, and I don't know what she believes, but I truly believe in the power of two people coming together, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't mind, before we get off of here, I want to actually say a prayer that God move and do whatever's necessary to deliver you out of your circumstances and to put you in a place where you and your kids are okay, if you don't mind.
Oh, I'd be more than appreciative.
All right, here we go. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. I want to thank you for this beautiful soul coming on here and being brave enough to share her story and her experiences that she has faced throughout the years. I thank you for her being transparent and sharing with the whole community the things that her and her family have faced. Right now, we know that there's power if two or more agree that whatever we ask for in your name, you will do. So we're coming together, and all those who watch, we asking that you intervene in any way necessary in her life, Help her, help her family, cover her children, restore her in any way needed, from the mind to everything that has been taken from her. I ask that you would return it to a hundredfold. Give her the strength and the power she needs. Give her the strategy she needs. Give her the help that she needs to get out of this situation. Lord, remove any blockages or any people that's in the way that's stopping her from her freedom or release. And we thank you in advance. And we know that it's going to be done. And we look forward for the praise report of everything taking place. In Jesus' name, amen. Tiff,
Amen.
you a strong woman, man.
Gotta be.
You a strong woman, Tiff, on a real. And I'm pretty sure there's many other people that may be in similar situations and you still pushing, Tiff. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us again.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let go.
Can't let go.
I'm serious.
It's like when I was telling you a minute ago, that you're protected by God. Um, See, before it, all the beatings, the abuse, he would always choke me. I don't know if you saw one of my posts where they was like, they had, it's that somebody Trevino that I'm duetting with, and they were like, it was a trap. They had you down. They had their knee on your neck.
I seen that
He,
one. I seen that
he
one.
really did. He held me down in his bed and put both of his hands to my neck and was choking me. He pulled two pillows, the blanket, and just wouldn't give up. He put his whole entire body on top of my chest and was choking me. There's actually a poem that I wrote called The Fight for Life that I posted on my TikTok page as well. That is from that experience, knowing that your life is leaving you. And they said, but you transitioned back in position, and they're looking at you like, oh, because that's what happened. He thought he killed me and he ran out of the room and came back in there, was like, there's no way. There's no way you're standing up. But fast forward that like a year, he picked me up in front of everybody by my neck and carried me at least 15, 20 yards and just body slammed me and kicked me as hard as he could, walked away, and I got up, dusted myself off, like whatever, pulled my shoulders back as he's walking into the house and took my beer from me and everything and was like, showing that he's the head honcho or whatever. He turned back like, a girl would turn over their shoulders and be like, see you later. He was just like, why don't you do us a favor and go kill yourself? So I was like, all right. He took off with his friend, supposedly going to work. And I didn't see him leave because I'm trying to get into my truck. But when they told me that he left, I was like, all right, bet. I get in my truck. I didn't pill out. I drove normally. I did 5 miles over the speed limit, caught up with them. We were going down Brookville Road here in Indianapolis. As we get up to the bridge, I noticed that the straightaway was clear. The light was turning yellow. They were slowing down. I just kind of glanced to my right and I gave them the peace sign. And I hit the gas, blasted through the red light, topped out at 90 miles an hour. And I jerked my steering wheel as hard as I could to the left. Never in my life have I ever felt, and some people are like, well, in a moment like that, you're thinking chaos is going through your mind. But as I feel my car spinning and going to it was in a Dodge Nitro, hopped the median, went to the other side, smacked a wall. I come back to the other side and hit a wall, come to a stop. There's no walls on either side. And like I made a post just the other day. I said I made a stroll down memory lane because sometimes you got to go back to memory lane to remind yourself why you're walking away. And I wanted to ask him about that day specifically. He was like, Tiffany, we thought you went over the side. He's like, your truck was gone. He was like, there was smoke kicked up all over both sides, all 4 lanes. He's like, but your truck wasn't there. He said, and all of a sudden, your truck is slamming over the median, coming to a stop on the right side of the road. He was like, we done thought you went over to the highway underneath of us. He was like, your truck literally disappeared for a minute. And that minute that he was saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, well, then that's got to be the minute how they talk about God will calm the storm in the midst of the chaos. As I'm sitting in my truck, everything is just flying past me in shambles, but there's like a bubble on me that everything is so slow. Like, I'm not being thrashed through the vehicle. I'm not getting hurt. It's like I didn't even have my seatbelt on because I knew what I was on my way to do. And I hear, and people are going to think I'm crazy. And they're like, yeah, she needs better drugs that psychiatrists can prescribe.
Mm-mm.
But as I'm sitting there and my truck comes to a stop, it won't start. He's not letting me start my truck. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I can't wait. What just happened? And then I hear this voice that says, not today, my child. You are mine in all of divine space and time. Dry your tears. And my truck started all on its own. I didn't turn the key, didn't do anything. 90 miles an hour on an overpass. You know what should happen. I pulled away and I had to go park at a gas station and just sit there for a minute because at that moment, you know there's something else out there.
Wow.
I've never felt God that strong in my life, but
wow.
Yeah.
In the midst of all that.
In the midst of it all, everything in my driver's seat was calm. I walked away with no scratches. There was no damage to my truck, no damage to my tires, no damage to my alignment, nothing. And then that's what I hear.
So you got a major purpose, Tiff. I don't know what it is. But all you just told us for the last hour and something, and what you just told, and you still here? Tiff, you got a purpose, Tiff. You got a purpose, Tiff. You need to find that purpose, Tiff.
I think I did.
All that to take place, 90 miles an hour, you try, and nothing get down.
Nothing.
And you still
not even a flat tire. And I hopped a median that was like, you wouldn't take a car over it, put it that way. You know how like when you come up.
Somebody type Tiff got a purpose, man. Somebody type Tiff got a purpose, man. I want to see it right now. Tiff got a purpose, man. Ain't no way all that happened. Everything you done been through, everything you done overcame, and you still here, man. And like, no, you still here. Like
mentally, soundly sane.
Yeah, you still here.
Yeah. That's why they're like, everything that you went through, it should have fried your brain. You shouldn't be functioning normally. And to be honest with you, I don't function normally anymore like I used to, because when they did the fentanyl and the weed, the spice that they slipped me when I told you that time before, they had to Narcan me 4 times. This is really going to get you. Thank you. They Narcaned me 4 times. They pronounced me dead. Then they kind of got shocked because they're like, okay, her heart's still beating. So they hooked me up to all these EKGs at the emergency bedside EKG. I could hear coming in and out of it. I heard the nurse take off out of the room and they said, she's having a stroke. She's not going to make it. And back out I went, woke up hours later and they're like, do you know where you are? Do you know what today's date is? And still at some point, I want to think they lied to me, because I want to think some time went by, because they're like, you were pronounced dead. And if you want to know the power of God is actually real, feel him when he jumpstarts your heart. It almost feels like you take and you're putting jumper cables to your heart and putting it to the most powerful battery around. Because I felt my heart stop. Like I seen everything just dissipating and slowly fading away. And I felt myself take my last breath. But as I'm sitting there, I still got this image in my head because while I'm sitting in my car, and this is where it confuses me because this is where it makes me feel like sometimes I'm going crazy. But as I'm sitting there dying in my car, that's when I said 911 won't help you. 911 dispatch hung up on me. I told him I'm dying. I'm in a silver car, Brookville Road. Please help me. Dispatch hung up twice. Never sent an ambulance, never sent a cop to do a welfare check, nothing. So the only thing keeping me even in a sense of being able to move or power at all over myself is I keep telling myself in my head, you got to do this for your kids. You got to do this for your kids. But it's like I kept feeling myself, my eyes would close and I would keep going down. Well, something was just like, look. So I looked off to my left and in front of the mechanic shop. When you see yourself outside of your own body,
In near death experience, yeah, man.
I'm knelt down in front of two of my kids and I grabbed both their hands. It was he's 15 and my 12-year-old. And I'm watching myself. I grab both their hands and I tell them, Mommy loves you. Mommy never, ever left you. Don't think that I don't love you. Mommy loves you guys. And that's why I blacked out. And I wake up, we're just moments from the hospital. And then that's when everything happens. And as I'm sitting there, when I felt my heart stop in the hospital bed, and they're sitting there still rubbing their hands to my chest, doing chest compressions, some of the rudest things that nurses can say to people. I couldn't move. I couldn't say anything. And my boyfriend don't even know my last name, don't even know my date of birth, because there's a whole situation on that. It's a set of triplets. Yeah. They got books about it. And those books that you see on TikTok that they're talking about my mate and his brothers and the other wolf pack and all that, that's their stories.
Wow.
Of them beating the women and submitting the women and the women doing this and beating this one certain female all the time and stealing from this one certain female all the time. You're pretty much reading my story. And you'll probably come across a book called Meth Mansion here within the next year, because that's another book they kept saying that they're going to write. But to hear these nurses sitting there saying, oh, we found the injection site where they were putting that crocodile in the drugs, how it comes out through your pores. I had a big sore and I got a big scar like this on the back of my leg from where the poison was eating a hole in my skin. And they said that that was an injection site. So, oh, we found the problem right here. If they just stay off the drugs and the needles, they wouldn't find themselves dying in a hospital. And I'm hearing all this and they think I don't hear nothing because they've done Narcan me 3 times. But I'm hearing everything they're saying. I can't move. I can't talk. I feel like I can't breathe. But something was like, wiggle your foot. And I'm like trying to, with every bit of energy I got left in me, I'm trying to wiggle my left foot. Because when I was 16, something provoked me to put a tattoo on my left ankle. It's a heart with wings, and it says Tiffany Daniel, 83. My first and last name and the year I was born. I could hear the doctor and the nurses talking about, well, we don't know how to treat her. We don't know what we can and cannot give her. As far as we're concerned, we can't even say that her name's Tiffany because he don't know her last name and her date of birth. So they literally Jane Doe'd me. And something kept telling me, like, wiggle your foot. The only thing I could do was wiggle my toes. And they're like, maybe she's trying to tell us something because my eyes are still open. They're just closing and opening. And I kept wiggling and they jerked my foot over and they're like, well, she's got a tattoo right here. So they pulled it up and they're like, Well, the guy said her name's Tiffany. She's got a tattoo on her ankle that says Tiffany Daniel 83. So they type that into the computer and they're like, the picture matches her face. So God's been working with me since the first assassination when I was 7 years old.
And he's still here.
He already knew what was going to happen now. That's why I got that tattoo. And I did that tattoo myself with Indian ink and a sewing needle, just poking the crap out of myself. But
look, Tiff, my prayer is that you accept whatever this humongous calling you got over your life to help people, because ain't no way you go through all of that and survive and you
that
not
ain't
called.
even, you need a part 3. That ain't even.
Look, we're gonna have to have Tiff back for a part 3, man. But
yeah.
I'm serious, Tiff. I'm serious, Tiff. Before we go, like I'm being honest. I joke around and I clown, but if you survive all that, Tiff, it's no way that you're not supposed to be out here doing something.
Still smiling, still trying.
Look, there's people. If you go towards that purpose, I promise you, Tiff, go towards that purpose. Go towards
I think my purpose was to protect kids. Because
now though, the next thing, what is it going to take for you to actually truly walk that clean out?
If I can get people to back me and actually support and help me. Because you know how the news tries to separate, segregate, and initiate all the hate crimes and all that. They try to make it so, you know, they're like, oh, well, they're putting this white person on there, but they didn't put this black person on there. So look at it in my shoes. They did the same thing to me. You know, I'm a white mother, but that's a whole new story on its own, because in the midst of all this, they drugged me. Remember when I said I woke up with a needle mark in my arm and they took a chunk of skin out of my leg? I think my husband has something to do with this. So I don't leave because my husband has custody of my 2 kids from when the person got in the car and threatened to kill my caseworker. I don't want to leave because how do you walk away from your kids? Like how? That's like my biggest problem. And it's so much, but if you, like I said, if you go and look at my case and y'all look at Roger Hubbard's information of his arrest, it doesn't even show his conviction to the child molestation and the child assault. It doesn't show that. He still doesn't even register in the Indiana registry system. You have to go to Decatur County Township here in Greensburg, Indiana. You got to look him up on the sheriff's form. That's the only way you'll find him. But he gets a $1,500 bond for this. Now, if you look at what they did to me in November when they drugged me and I woke up surrounded by cops, I got a $15,000 as surety bond. My case, if you look up my name, Tiffany Daniel, you'll see where it shows my case, but it says 2 years, time served, charges to run concurrent, with like 130 days time served of 6 months on the HD. I paid my fees. They're telling me now that I have to open up another hearing to see the judge again because I'm getting 2 years and 6 months of HD. I can't stay trapped in this house. I don't even want to leave because I'm in fear that I'm going to make a call and tell them I'm going to the store, and then I'm going to go to my probation appointment. They're going to take the box off and say, well, you violated your probation and put me in prison for 2 years. Again. But this time, not jail, prison. And I can't get an attorney. I can't call anybody. Like, I watch my phone and I notice my phone glitches a lot. Well, Metro PC, that's the phone company here. Metro, Indianapolis, downtown Metro. See where I'm going with that? It's all tied in. Like
deep web. Yeah. And before we
So
before we before we close it down, like I said, anybody who's on here, I'm calling on all of y'all to send this woman extreme prayers because I truly believe in the power of prayer. Like I truly believe in the power of prayer.
me
And
too.
you've told your story. Your story will get seen. And when they get to this part, anybody who's seeing this, and I know they have prayer warriors who watch this, please send a prayer for Mrs. Tiff. I thank you again for sharing your story. And you know I'm gonna be checking over you every now and then to see how you're doing. Look, we keep in
Mhm.
contact on TikTok. You send me your poems. Let me see your poems that you got going on, making sure you still good.
Oh,
And look, I truly, 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 truly appreciate you for sharing. And like I said, sometimes it's not always about we've made it to the end, but just having somebody willing to hear what you're going through does a lot. Because I know for me, I don't always look for a solution because sometimes it's not always a solution. But
exactly.
to have a listening ear is a major part. And I appreciate you allowing all of us to listen to your story, Miss Tiff.
Um, Before we wrap this up, will you let me read you one more poem?
Hold on, hold on. Get yourself ready. There we go.
This one's gonna it's a pretty good one. Um,
Take your
it,
time so we can hear it, Miss Tiff. Take your time.
all right. It's called Hell Defeated by Beauty Unseen. If this is the hell that I am cursed to dwell, then hell, I am ringing the bells a wail to announce that hell don't stand a chance in this dance of confidence and chance. The angel is growing her wings this fall. In a stall on time, I'll see a sign from heaven above. Now, I'm going to interrupt myself. As you hear this poem, there's more than one person speaking, and you'll hear it. In a stall on time, I'll see a sign from heaven above that from this love, she'll forever be above. Never below will she ever go. With pure beauty, she glows as a pure white soul. She'll never be gone, and you'll see the wings of beauty unseen. With eyes of brilliant green, look upon her eyes as scenes unfold of such pain unseen. She knows what's seen in the future dreams of the earth and life. She feels the hurt put forth by our own beautiful earth. She sees the storm that's about to be born. I wish it truly and deeply not be born. I cannot mourn no more. Let me be the newborn to go ahead of this deadly storm. No place to be safe and free, only a small part across the seas. It's Jerusalem we're meant to see. That enemy was unforeseen. The death that passed struck a grief from past reasonings. Wasn't nobody supposed to see but me, and the escape that was supposed to be seen. Shows, so as above will be below, and like it said, hell is going to be defeated so gracefully. I promise this to be a wrong, not meant to be. Never blue land where once was dry sand. Time is now to make attack plans. I've seen it years past around about 23. Gas stations and beverage stores always located directly next door. Why wouldn't no one listen before? We've been way into this war since I was around about 24. Love is lost and greed is in its place for the one who comes in first place. When the one with the better plan at the moment is in charge, for short moments, chaos will come, but this isn't it if bended knees we get. The Lord will forgive and bring great peace when beauty sings. With her voice you shall weep, from a voice so sweet. Her beauty she speaks will be as deep as the cracks as the ocean's bottoms is dark. Light is shining in to remove your enemies. Moving the world just like the tilt-a-whirl, just not this time as a little girl. She won't be hurled into misery. She'll be free as this promise is guaranteed. She's never payment of debt to death to enemies. Death I will not let her see. She has always been good to me. She is what normal should kind of be when we are speaking spiritually. Love is beauty, and so you see, she is the queen of beauty of unforeseen, and a heart made with a part of Jesus our King. Here's your Mary Magdalene, her baby beauty. That is your natural queen to be. Just wait and see. A holy grail she'll be. Thank you for truly helping me.
Mm.
You don't hear poetry like that.
And I heard the two people. I'm leaving it like that, Tiff. I'm leaving it like that.
On a good note.
I'll see you on the next time, Tiff. You'll be back.
I will. You have a good night. Thank you.
You too.